What's up, guys and gals? Red Icing Guy back again to do something I've wanted to do for a long time. Have the community involved entirely in a video. I will try to answer your questions to the best of my ability, and the only disclaimers I need to say is that some of these will involve humble opinions, and that I am by no means an expert and can be wrong sometimes. This video is awesome to me because one of the reasons I started this whole Persona 5 series is that all the forums and fandoms seem to be dying with the lack of info, and I really like geeking out with other nerds. Also, please forgive me if I mispronounce your username, and there may be some minor spoilers for the entire series. With that said, let's get into some of your questions. The first question comes from Destiny Kuhn. Will there be same-sex romance options in Persona 5? First of all, the only reason I answered this one first is due to the fact that it was obviously going to come up. If you ever checked out the GameFAQs forum, this was asked about 500 damn times. And my answer is still the same. I don't care if it happens. I typically don't care about the romances in the Persona series, and I further don't care if it allows for same-sex, bisexual, or transsexual options. It's an entire meh discussions for me. Don't take that as a no, however. The Persona games have been a little controversial since the beginning, and they took the same-sex romance out of Persona 4 for reasons of saving public face. Nowadays, gay romances are allowed in almost every video game with romance options as long as it's optional and doesn't employ too many stereotypes. So yes, I do believe same-sex romances will be a feature with 1 to 3 different characters in Persona 5, with 1 party member and 1 or 2 social link partners. Hope this helps, Destiny, and also I know you asked more questions, but I have to show equal time to the other commenters, so please try again for next week. The second question comes from Leo, a very active member of the community, and thank you for that. His question is, how will the color red affect Persona 5? Well, Leo, you pointed out red meant anger, and I agree. The reason red is incorporated into the theme of Persona 5 is not just to detail anger, but also pain, wrongdoing, action, and revenge. I say revenge because the demon Phantom from Persona 1 and 2 had a tagline involving grudge in its description. Persona 3 was a tragic hero story, so it detailed sadness. Sadness and blue go very well together. Then we move on to Persona 4 and its yellow connection. Persona 4's theme was a mystery detailing confusion and fear. Fear was very important to Persona 4 as it involved a murderer on the loose in your town, and that most of the social links were based around social fears, how people looked at them and they didn't know how to react or how to deal with the judgment from them. So if we apply the same type of theme to Persona 5, the theme will focus around powerful emotions and revenge. The social links will probably focus on people who were wronged, getting people to stand up for themselves, and helping them control their over-the-top emotions. Thanks for the great subject, Leo. The next question comes from Makowitz. Makowitz? I don't know. And it's a big one. Are dungeons accessed from paintings in the art gallery? Thanks for bringing this up, Makowitz, because it is an important subject. There are 4 theories involving dungeon access: the Midnight app, the subway, media outlets, and mixed. We have already seen the party members jump through paintings as a transition to another floor of a dungeon, so it's not entirely out of the question. This also may address 2 dungeons that really have issues being pinned down: the Pyramid and the Space Colony. The Pyramid is hard to pin down because it has a surrounding city and desert. Could the Shadow Bleed seriously affect the city that much to just erase other buildings? The Pyramid dungeon takes a little away from the Midnight app theory, while the subway, media, and mixed theories get stronger. Paintings fall in the media category, but also can include televisions and computers. Computers is a top contender for the Space Colony dungeon, but the Pyramid could still be explained by the subway theory. Thanks to other commenters, I know now that the Philemon butterfly logo on the phone details a save point and a subway station which travels through a portal to reach a dungeon destination. So both Pyramid and Space Colony dungeons can be explained this way. The Midnight app may just be an alert system to show where a dungeon is or that it has been unlocked. So back to your question. Is the painting theory plausible? Yes, it is. But there are more plausible theories out there, or paintings may just be a tie-in to those theories. Also, I don't think Atlus would make a dungeon inside of a dungeon for the game unless they were really stressed on time and able to allow such a break in the dungeon location theme to happen. Thanks for the good question and awesome Mr. Bean pick. Rowan Atkinson rules. The last question comes from It's Zealous. How do you think DLC will be incorporated into Persona 5 post-launch? Great question. There's the obvious DLCs and the unknown DLCs. The obvious DLC is what we usually see at launch and later. This can include cosmetic upgrades such as clothes and costumes for all party members, as well as certain weapons and accessories that are not too powerful. We all know these types of items because they're offered as a pre-order bonus with RPGs, and some require more payment from die-hard fans after the game's release. The unknown DLC is the more intriguing subject though. It's hard to ascertain story content and added bonus content since Persona 5 will be based off of a calendar system. By adding in content like this, the company would have to take some risks. If they add in special events, those events would be cut out of the game, then require us to purchase it to put it back in, which is a thing gamers complain about a lot. Remember in Persona 4 how you were required to help at Junez and it just skipped a week? That kind of bull. Another way they could go about it is turning a normal week in the game into an eventful week. One you would have to work your schedule around to fit in the new events. There would be less dungeon crawling, making you feel rushed after that week to make up for the lack of grinding. The last type of unknown DLC is post-game. Post-game is really iffy. Atlus would either turn it into some sort of basic OVA for the series, where it's just some story-based stuff around all the protagonists, or to clear up some plot holes that arose in the story. The worst part of the post-game DLC is that it may actually have the true final boss of the game. With that boss being DLC only, a lot of us would start to hate Atlus for it. So DLC is a very questionable subject, especially when it comes to actual content that we care about. Hopefully Atlus doesn't screw up on this. Thank you, Zealous. I was hoping someone would ask that for this video. That's the end of the video. Am I wrong in some aspect? Do you have any questions? Do you have any theories of your own? Leave a comment starting with red and I'll get back to you. Also, I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question. I didn't want to make a 30-minute long video and bore the crap out of everybody. If you post it again with the phrase, "This has been bugging me," I will get to it first before the new questions next week. I want to reward the determined viewer, and I don't want it to feel like I'm ignoring you. If you haven't posted a question yet, feel free to do so using the earlier phrase and I'll add it to the list that may appear in the future. One last thing, even though I am very strict for time, I would also like to cover other video games as well in different videos. So if you have a general question about different video games, leave a comment with the phrase, "I want to understand this a little more," and I'll eventually get a video out about it. Thanks for watching, and again, I cannot think of a closer, so goodbye.